Hello, fantasy football fans. This is Friday, February the 26th, 2010, and today's blog is going to be talking about 5 breakout running backs that fantasy football owners should watch this year. Before I start this blog, let me start by saying that if you're not dominating your fantasy football league, it is obvious you need to get into the end zone. fantasyendzone.com. This blog is a must-read for fantasy owners. These guys have breakout potential because their teams have solid offensive lines. Last year, the New York Jets upgraded their offensive line, and the result was the rebirth of Thomas Jones. The following running backs have a chance to be breakout running backs that fantasy football owners should keep in mind. If the teams of these running backs keep their offensive lines intact or upgrade them through the draft or free agency, they have the chance to produce big. Okay, first on the list, we're going to talk about Jerome Harrison. He had 862 yards while rushing for 4.4 yards per carry. His longest run was a 71-yard touchdown run, and he ended up with 7 touchdowns. These stats are based on 12 games. In my fantasy league, he averaged 9.7 points per game. The last 3 games of the season, he averaged 32 points per game in fantasy points. The Cleveland Browns line only gave up 19 sacks. That tells us they're good at protecting the quarterback, but that doesn't tell us much about their run blocking. But it does tell us that they're a solid unit up front. The Browns must build their offensive line if they want to have a dominant running game on the ground. Okay, the second on the list is Jonathan Stewart. He had 1,133 rushing yards while averaging 5.1 yards per carry. His longest run was for a 76-yard touchdown run, and he ended up with 10 touchdowns. He plays on a team that desires to run the football first. He has a solid offensive line in front of him. The offensive line only gave up 23 sacks last year. Believe it or not, D'Angelo Williams makes him a more desirable fantasy football league running back. He keeps Stewart well rested. The Panthers have relied on their aggressive running game due to the Jake Delhomme's inconsistent play at times. He could be a valuable back that could get overlooked come draft day. Breakout alert. Okay, next we want to talk about Benny Wells. Kurt Warner has called it a career. The talented team now looks to Matt Leinart as a leader. Benny Wells will become his best friend. The Cardinals have a solid offensive line up front. They only gave up 24 sacks on the quarterback. Wells had 793 yards rushing while averaging 4.5 yards per carry. His longest run was for 33 yards, and he ended up with 7 touchdowns. We will really see if he can carry the workload. Leinart is an inexperienced quarterback who will need to rely on a solid running game that will take the pressure off the quarterback position. He will be a make or break pick for you. I feel not comfortable spending a high draft pick on him, but if he goes late in the draft rounds, then he could be worth the risk. Use caution on this one. Okay, we want to talk about Sean Green. He had 540 yards rushing while he averaged 5 yards per carry in limited playing time. All the signs are pointing to this guy taking the spot of Thomas Jones. He just probably is the best. Thomas Jones, probably had the best year of his career. He is also 31 years old, which spells opportunity for Green. He and Leon Washington will have more touches this season. Due to the age factor of Jones and his 5 yard per carry average, talking about Sean Green, This will give Green some added fantasy value come draft day. Fantasy football owners are always looking for that unknown back that can really be a factor. This is the guy. He will be overlooked because of the season that Jones had last year. Fantasy owners should be cautious of Jones simply due to his age. All the great running backs in history have broken down when they reach the age of 30 or so. This guy could be the X factor on your team. Jamal Charles. He had 1,120 yards rushing while averaging 5.9 yards per carry. He averaged 5.9 yards per carry. That stat alone tells me that he will be a featured back next season, and they're going to rely on him. His longest run was for a 76-yard touchdown run, and he ended up with 7 touchdowns. These stats are based on 12 games. Over the last 6 weeks of the season, he averaged 25.8 fantasy points in my league. If the Chiefs make efforts to strengthen their offensive line, he could be in for a huge season. I feel like these guys will be valuable come draft time. For a good fantasy football blog that is very helpful, go to www.fantasyfootballcalculator.com/blog. Once again, this is fantasyendzone.com. Thank you for tuning in.